My next question is regarding an FOI that came out last year, 25058.
If you could provide us with a bit more information on that, Senator Rennick, we can provide the right person at the table to respond.
Sure. So it's regarding correspondence, I guess. I've only got page 178, but let me just read out what page 178 of the FOI said. And so this was an email that was sent from someone presumably to HealthGov, and it was from someone in HealthGov. So someone went in the Health Department emailed someone else in the Health Department, and they said that in regards to the integration issue, foreign DNA can integrate into chromosomal DNA in the absence of integrase, an enzyme, in cells, mammal cells. This comes from the DNA damage repair literature, where breaks in DNA are repaired through processes called non-homologous and joining or recombination. Exogenous DNA can potentially be incorporated using these processes.
So, thank you for clarifying that, Senator. We're familiar with that account of an internal discussion between scientists. I think Dr. Kerr is in position to comment.
Thank you. I just build on what Professor Lawler said. So we have robust internal discussions around issues that are brought up with us, and indeed we recognise that there is the possibility, but what is left out of the social media focus around that particular FOI is that there is also a comment in that document that says that for integration of the DNA to occur, then there would need to be a series of highly improbable events. And indeed, now that we've had 50 years of experience with biotechnology products and over 13 billion doses of the mRNA products, there is not a single report that has actually ever happened in real life.
I wouldn't mind if you also, Senator, if I just underpin one of the things that is frequently levelled, one of the claims frequently levelled against the TGA is that there's a groupthink ideology, or that we kind of go along blindly. I think one of the strengths of the TGA, certainly that I've witnessed since I started midway through 2023, is that there is robust scientific debate, that views are not censored or quashed. And in fact, I think the Australian public would expect us to be having those conversations, and it is challenging, I think, to respond to a single view from a single correspondent taken out of context when it was actually in the context of a much broader conversation as well.
Okay, thank you. So then
Can I just add on to that? The final consensus view appeared in our media statement on the 18th of October. That is the final view after all of the internal scientists had their discussion.
Okay, thank you, because I'll then go to the patent that Moderna used and issued. So this is, the number, it's US 2019-024317, but I'll read it out to you because I know you haven't got it in front of you. The direct injection of genetically engineered DNA, i.e. naked plasmid DNA, into a living host results in a small number of its cells directly producing an antigen, resulting in a protective immunological response. With this technique, however, comes potential problems, including the possibility of insertional mutagenesis, which could lead to the activation of oncogenes or the inhibition of tumour suppressor genes. So, in other words, they're saying that the use of naked plasmid DNA can potentially lead to cancer. So it's not a one-off view, that particular email. The makers of Moderna, the producers of them, actually admit that there is a risk that cancer can occur from this. So what do you have to say to that?
So what I would like to say to that is that we have answered that question at least 18 times before. I've just read out all of the previous answers. We've answered that in SQ23001075, SQ23001111, SQ23002047, SQ23002048, SQ23002050, SQ23002051, SQ23002089.
Okay, so you don't have to. I just would like to know what you have to say to that. You can just verbally state it here.
So Moderna and global regulators recognise that naked DNA in high concentrations does present a potential risk, a theoretical risk. These conversations have been held with regulators since at least the 1990s. There is a very solid framework for regulators and pharmaceutical companies around minimising that risk. That includes digesting the plasmid, so there isn't full plasmids in any product, and after the plasmids are digested or broken up, they are then filtered out. I'll also add that the Moderna product doesn't have any oncogenes in it, and that their product has well within the global regulatory limit of residual DNA.
Okay, thank you.
And also,
So-
I just need to add, sorry, I'll just reiterate, there's been 50 years of experience of residual DNA in biotechnology products and 13 billion doses, so that means 13 billion opportunities for this to happen in real life, and there isn't a single report.
Okay, so I'll then go to the next thing. So despite that, obviously there's acknowledged potential risks here, both from Moderna, the maker of...
They're theoretical and they're very small.
I've heard you out, please. So, and then there's an email here that indicates there's also a risk. Why then, given these risks were known at the time, didn't carcinogenic testing, why wasn't it actually performed before the rollout of the vaccines?
So can I clarify, Senator, when you say there's an email that indicates that there's a risk, is that an email?
Well, that's the one I read out to you before.
Oh, okay. I do think that we actually addressed that was a process of internal conversation. That was not the declaration or confirmation of a validated risk.
Well, it seems suggested. Anyway, so...
Residual DNA is evaluated before the products are approved. That is actually part of the evaluation process.
You say this technology has been around for 50 years. This is the first time that the DNA was put inside lipids to go inside a cell. That's never happened before. It's lots of testing, I acknowledge, but not actually rolled out into real life.
There are well-characterised systems within the cell to break down exogenous DNA. They're well categorised, well known.
Okay, so back to the question, given that the potential risks that were identified by Moderna, and this conversation seems to suggest that exogenous DNA can potentially be incorporated using these processes, or you can have homologous recombination, so i.e. the DNA inserted into the body's cells via the vaccine can recombinate with existing DNA. This is what's acknowledged here as a risk. Why wasn't carcinogenic testing done given the potential risks involved with the vaccine?
Just before Dr Kerr comments on that, I think I need to be really clear around this, Senator, is that you are drawing a line of evidence that is taking you to a conclusion, I think, that you're asking us to refute or confirm. You are, for that purpose, relying on a single email within a long chain of conversation, which is a conversation between scientists, which is clarified within the broader context of that email, that this requires a series of significantly improbable steps, and the result of that conversation was a consensus. This is not something that's happened. We have a long series of processes which leads to our determination of the safety of these vaccines. One includes, as Dr Kerr has highlighted, the fact that you keep talking about the incorporation of naked DNA. We're talking about the introduction of lipid-based mRNA.
Yep.
We have processes of manufacture that cleave and remove that DNA. We go through a process of testing against globally recognised and accepted standards, and the batches have met that. And we go through a process of intensive pharmacovigilance, and as I've mentioned previously, and I suspect we'll mention a number of times again tonight,
Yep.
the COVID vaccines have been the most scrutinised medicines rolled out in Australian history. And as Dr Kerr has mentioned, over 50 years of, regardless of the delivery mechanism, over 50 years of biotechnology using these technologies, we have not seen integration to human DNA. On that basis, I'll ask you to add to the response.
Okay.
I think I can't add to that response, though.
Authorised G. Rennick People First Chermside.